It's great to be here. You know, my most favorite thing in the world is to fish. And I don't know if you're watching and you're like, yeah, I enjoy fishing as well. Fishing is a biblical sport. I hope you know that. Many of the disciples were fishermen, and Jesus said that we're to be fishers of men. Well, a while back, I had the opportunity to do some fishing in the Atlantic Ocean. And it was a great, great day of fishing. We had a wonderful time. I was fishing with a friend of mine named Bo. We were in a little 16-foot boat out in the middle of nowhere. The sun was melting into the horizon. It was like, again, we were by ourselves in the large, vast Florida Keys area. The boat was turning toward the marina. And I was like, okay, we're only about 2 minutes away from the marina because the marina was right there close. We could see it. And suddenly my friend, Bo, over the noise of the engine said, Ed, somebody is out there swimming behind their boat. And again, there are big honking sharks in this area. And we looked, and sure enough, there was a guy out there. It looked like he was swimming. And then my friend said, let's go check this dude out because he might be in trouble. So we motored over to this guy. We finally got to him. His boat was about 100 yards away from him. And this man was in the process of drowning. I mean, he was like, drown. So we looked down in the water, and this guy's at least 350 pounds. He looks about 6 feet, 6 inches tall, a behemoth. Bo and I grabbed him, and I don't know how we did it. We pulled him into our little boat. Our boat was taking on water and everything, and the guy finally regained his composure. He started crying. Thank you. If you guys hadn't have come by, I would have drowned. And we were like, what happened? He said, I was fishing, and he said, I fell over, and the wind kept pushing my boat away from me. I tried to swim and catch the boat. I couldn't. I got tired, and I was just several minutes away from sinking. He goes, thank you for rescuing me. So we were like, wow. So we drove over to the guy's boat, dropped him off when he was okay, and then we turned and made our way to the marina. And this happened within eyesight of the marina. Once we got to the marina, we saw all of these boats creatively stacked and tied up at the dock. And I don't know if you've noticed this. Anytime you see a marina, marinas are always occupied. Isn't that weird? I mean, they're never empty. Anyway, I saw this beautiful boat at the front of the marina that was tied up. It was about $250,000 craft. A gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous thing. And on the front of the boat, on the bow, stood this guy. He was just ripped. I mean, he had a P90X body. And next to him was, I hope it was his wife, his wife or girlfriend or whatever, and she had on the resemblance of a bikini. I've seen more cotton in an aspirin bottle than she had on. Anyway, as we got closer and closer, it was kind of weird. Both of them smiled and then waved, and then the guy whacked her on the bottom. And it was eerie. And I thought to myself, man, that's crazy. Here we just rescued a guy who was fighting for his life, and now we're seeing this couple standing on a very expensive boat, smiling and waving and whacking each other on the bottom. Then God spoke to me, not in an audible voice, but God spoke to my spirit and said, Ed, that's the problem with the church. That's the problem with so many believers. They have this marina mentality. They're tied up to the dock, smiling and waving and whacking each other on the bottom while drowning people are sinking without Christ to the bottom and facing a Christless eternity. And they're just out of reach. They're right there. They're within sight of the church, but we're so focused on the marina mentality that we miss those people who are drowning. I want to ask you something. Who's drowning in your life? Who is that person you see each and every day at the coffee shop, around the golf course, at the gym, the neighborhood, the boardroom, who's drowning, who's saying, because think about it. Jesus said the powerful words in Matthew 28, verses 19 and 20. He said, therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. Jesus said, he didn't say yo, he said go. And in the original language, it's as you're going. As you're going. What was Jesus saying? He was telling the church, get your as in gear. That's right. As you're working, as you're playing golf, as you're drinking coffee, as you're shooting basketball, as you're traveling, as you're antiquing, make sure you are seeing drowning people and helping with the rescue process. Because the Bible is an anthology of the rescue. We rescued this guy from drowning, yet Jesus says, hey, it's all about the rescue. The ring is the thing. Who is the ring? The ring is Jesus. What happened? Well, God saw our situation. God saw that we were drowning. God saw our depravity. God could have said, well, see, you don't want to be you, but he didn't. What did he do? God threw a life ring to you and me. Who's that ring? That ring is Jesus. We don't deserve it. God did it because of his irrational, one-of-a-kind, crazy love, his ridiculous love. The Bible is all about the rescue. Rescue, 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 rescue. So we've been rescued. Once we let go of these poor flotation devices, power and possessions and pleasure, and grasp the life ring, we're rescued. What was Jesus saying in Matthew 28? He was saying, the radically rescued rescue radically. Are you a part of the rescue? Because in a believer's life, the ring is the thing. Jesus came from the top to the bottom to bring us from the bottom to the top. But not only is the ring the thing, the hope is the rope. I mean, this rope is tethered to the ring. You throw a life ring out, and you've got to be a part of the rope. It's got to be tethered to something. What is the rope tethered to? The only institution that Jesus ever built, the local church. That is the rescue society. I was doing some research a while back. I discovered that a lot of the yacht clubs started off as rescue societies. They started off with people who were into it, people who would jump in these little boats and face the wind and the waves and the water just to rescue people. But inevitably, after a while, people got tired of rescuing, tired of being sunburned, tired of seasickness, so they started yacht club, just sipping champagne and eating caviar, just tying their boats to the marina mentality. The church is not a marina. The church is a rescue society. The ring is the thing. The hope is the rope. And we better pull so the house will be full. Are you a part of the pull? Are you engaged? Are you involved in the local church? Because the church is a fellowship. That's the name of our church, Fellowship Church. What's a fellowship? A bunch of men and women rowing the ship. Jesus is the captain. And when we're rowing the ship toward Jesus, he always takes us by a bunch of drowning people. And when we're rowing the ship together, we don't have time to rock the boat, don't tip the boat over, rock the boat. We don't have time to complain. We don't have time to whine. We are a part of the pull. The ring is the thing. The hope is the rope. Pull, so the house will be full. Are you a part of the pull? I've discovered something because I've grown up in a pastor's home and have pastored for 20 years now. Pretty much everybody wants to reach people until you start reaching people. Let me say it again. Everybody wants to reach people until you start reaching people. Because when you start reaching people, you got to work. And if I'm the enemy, which I'm not, the enemy wants to come in and give us some rescuses. Get it? Rescuses. I made the word up. Excuses about why we shouldn't be involved in this process. And I've written some down. One is the sheeple rescues. A lot of churches these days just shuffle sheeple from one church to another, from this church to that church. Hot, not hot, and that is not reaching people who are far away from God. Another excuse, the depth excuse. Wow, I just want to go deep. Deep? All rescues are in the deep. There's no such thing as a shallow water rescue. And so many little babies are splashing around in the shallows with their floaties on. Babies have no concept of the deep. You want to go deep? You begin to say, you know what? The ring is the thing. You begin to say, wow, the hope is the rope. Wow, I'm going to be a part of the pull. You begin to get outside of yourself and share. I'm telling you, all heaven will break loose in your life. Here's another excuse, the God in the box excuse. Oh, we'll just put God in a box. Here, God's in a box. The elect are the elect, and that's the way the deal is. Well, I believe in election. It's in the Bible. I also believe in choice. You're telling me you figured out, you know, where election begins and choice ends, or where choice begins and election ends? Say what? Say what? God has gotten out of every box I've ever tried to put him in. So here's what I do. I keep nominating them, and God keeps on electing them. But God in the box? No. How about the no far away from God friends excuse? The Bible calls us to be what? Salt and light and leaven. The Bible calls us to penetrate a darkened world. We all like to do certain things. I know, for example, Marcus enjoys playing golf. I enjoy fishing. What do you enjoy? It could be designing. It could be building. It could be woodworking. It could be, I don't know, what do you like to do? God smiles when we're doing that stuff. He wants us to have fun. But I challenge you to do what you like to do around people who are far away from God. It'll change the way you pray. It'll change the way you preach. It'll change the way you read the scriptures. Do what you do with people who are far away from God. Just recently, I was fishing with a guy who's totally far away from God. And I've been praying for him for a long time. This guy had never been to church in his life. And one day in the middle of the ocean, he said, Ed, what is Christianity all about? Well, what is it? I knew the stakes were sky high, and I said, grace. He said, what's grace? He said, what in the bleep is grace, to quote him, but he used the word. And I explained it. And then I challenged him. I said, you know, have you ever responded to it? I just felt God leading me. And through my stumblings and fumblings, the guy prayed the prayer to commit his life to Christ right there in the middle of the ocean with tears streaming down his face. He'd never been in church in his life. Here I was enjoying what I like to do, fishing. So was he. The ring is the thing. The hope is the rope. Pull so the house will be full, and it will change your life.